In a city that never sleeps, there's one man who always wakes before the sun. He lives a simple life. A cup of coffee, a stack of paperwork, and the ticking of a wall clock that always beats the sunrise. To everyone else, he's just ordinary. Too quiet to be important, too neat to be suspicious. But behind that calm face lies something he's been hiding. Something even he tries to forget. He has a wife who loves him, and 2 kids who call him Dad with innocent eyes. But every morning, behind that same routine, there is an empty look, as if he is silently counting how long he can keep living this peaceful lie. Until one night, everything changes. 2 strangers break into his house. No vendetta, just a stupid mistake, but enough to awaken something inside him. Something that's been asleep for years. To the world, he's just another nobody. But to those who once knew him, he's a storm that learned to stay still. He sits there, face bruised, bleeding, being questioned by 2 cops. But his eyes, cold, empty, as if this is nothing more than a mild inconvenience in his daily routine. From his dirty jacket, he pulls out a can of meat. Not for himself, but for a cat he rescued. One of the cops asks, "Who are you really?" His name is Hutch Mansell. To the world, he's just a husband and father. Morning jogs, making breakfast for his kids, working as an auditor at his father-in-law's manufacturing firm. A flat, silent, painfully normal life. His marriage hasn't been warm for years. A quiet distance has settled between him and his wife, Rebecca. Then one night, his dull routine shatters. When 2 burglars break into his home. Hutch grabs a golf club. He's ready to fight. But when the thieves take only a few dollars and his watch, and after his teenage son Blake tackles one of them, Hutch suddenly stops. He orders his son to let the thief go. When the police arrive, everyone calls him a coward. His wife is disappointed. His son is ashamed. And the gossip spreads fast. Even his brother-in-law Charlie mocks him. Even points a gun at him just to humiliate him. But Hutch stays silent. At work, Hutch can't focus. The image of a tattoo on the burglar's arm haunts him. He locks his office door, turns on a radio, a special line to an old contact. He starts talking, describing the thieves in chilling detail. Their age, build, and, most importantly, the kind of weapon they used. And the reason he didn't fight back? Because he saw it clearly. The gun was empty. No bullets. Besides, what they stole was nothing. After work, he visits his elderly father, a man who once walked darker paths. The old man reminds him, "Don't forget who you were." But what finally breaks Hutch isn't the humiliation. It's his little girl, the only one who still looks at him like a hero. That night she's sad. Her cat bracelet is missing. The same bracelet that was right next to the spot where the burglars took the money. Hutch doesn't say a word. He just goes back to the nursing home, grabs his jacket, a gun, a stash of cash, and his father's old FBI badge. A new mission begins. Find the cat bracelet. That night, Hutch roams through a line of tattoo shops, flashing the old FBI badge. He's pretending to be an agent, searching for answers. But no one knows anything, or at least, no one dares to talk. Until one place. An old veteran behind the counter studies him closely. The man doesn't buy his story. Hutch slides a thick wad of cash across the table. Before the vet can react, a group of thugs approaches, ready to jump him. But then, the old man spots something. A tattoo on Hutch's wrist. The veteran's face turns pale. He steps back, trembling, and locks himself in the back room without another word. That's when Hutch finally gets what he came for. The address of the burglars. Hutch gears up, ready to execute. He demands his watch back. And more importantly, his daughter's cat bracelet. He's ready to pull the trigger, until he hears a baby crying. Inside the small apartment, the young couple, the same thieves, are caring for their sick infant. Maybe they didn't steal out of greed, but out of desperation. Hutch's rage fades into disappointment. He walks away, empty-handed. On his way home, the bus he's riding stops abruptly. A car full of drunken punks has crashed into the barrier. 5 of them stumble in, loud and arrogant, harassing passengers. Hutch watches them for a moment, then smiles. A faint, eerie smile. A gift from God, he thinks. It's been too long since he's let loose. At first he takes a few hits, even gets stabbed. But then something changes. His movements sharpen. His strikes become lethal. One by one, the punks fall. They never expected an ordinary middle-aged man to tear them apart like trained prey. When it's over, the bus is silent. Only the faint hum of the engine remains, and the sound of Hutch catching his breath, finally alive again. At home, Rebecca finds Hutch covered in bruises and blood. She doesn't scream. She doesn't ask questions. She simply helps him clean up. And in her eyes, for a brief moment, we see it. She knows something about his past. Meanwhile, miles away, we meet Yulian Kuznetsov, a Russian mobster with a taste for chaos. He is in charge of the Obshchak, a massive underground fund that fuels the entire Russian crime network in America. One of the men Hutch destroyed on that bus, Yulian's younger brother, Teddy. Fueled by grief and rage, Yulian begins to dig into who hurt his family. Eventually, he finds a clue, a bus pass, registered to Hutch Mansell. The next morning, Hutch enjoys his breakfast, calm, content, as if the violence has somehow cleansed him. But his peace doesn't last. His mysterious radio contact calls again, warning him, Yulian is coming. After work, Hutch stops by an old barber shop. Inside, an unnamed old friend, someone from his past life, hands him a file. Detailed information about Yulian and about the Obshchak. At the same time, Yulian's top hacker tries to break into classified Pentagon files on Hutch Mansell. But when the file opens, the hacker's face turns white. Whatever's inside, it terrifies him. He slams his laptop shut and begs Yulian, "Don't ever contact me again." That night, the Mansell family is having dinner. A moment that feels calm, almost normal. But the calm doesn't last. Yulian's men storm the house, armed to the teeth. Hutch reacts instantly. He orders his wife and kids into a secret bunker. A reinforced basement he built years ago, one that only he knows how to lock. Then, he cuts the power. Darkness, silence. And in that silence, death moves. Hutch strikes fast, efficient. He takes out the gunmen one by one. Methodical, ruthless, silent. But eventually, they overpower him. He's beaten, cuffed, thrown into the trunk of a car. Yulian wants him alive. But Hutch? He's far from done. Inside the moving car, he dislocates his thumb to slip out of the handcuffs. He breaks through the back seat, grabs a fire extinguisher, and sprays the entire interior. The car swerves. Chaos erupts. When the dust settles, Hutch is sitting calmly beside a dying mobster, the only survivor. The man looks at him, barely breathing, and whispers, "Who are you?" Hutch rushes home. He opens the bunker door. Rebecca and their son freeze in shock, seeing the trail of bodies he's left behind. He forces them to leave. He won't let his family get caught in what's coming next. Alone now, Hutch opens an old box, filled with gold bars and stacks of cash. He pours himself a drink, sits down, and starts to talk. He tells the story of who he really was. Years ago, he wasn't an auditor. He was an executioner, a government cleaner, sent to erase people who needed to disappear. One day, he was ordered to kill a man named Alan, someone who had stolen government money. But when Alan begged for mercy, Hutch did something he'd never done before. He let him go. A year later, Hutch found Alan again, alive, happy, living quietly with his family. And in that moment, Hutch realized something. He didn't want to kill anymore. He wanted that life, peace, family, normalcy. So he walked away. He left everything behind. Or so he thought. As he tells the story, his eyes wander. And there, under the couch, he spots it. The cat bracelet. The one he thought was stolen. The one that triggered all the chaos, all the death. It was never stolen, just misplaced. Hutch lets out a small laugh. Ah, well, too late now. He puts on a record, lets the vinyl spin. A match lights. The basement, built to trap heat, bursts into flames, burning every body, every trace, into ash. Hutch walks out calmly, steals his neighbor's luxury car, the same neighbor who has always bragged about it, and drives off into the night. The next morning, Hutch visits his father-in-law and offers to buy his company with solid gold bars. It's not a negotiation. It's a statement. Meanwhile, two of Julian's men track down Hutch's elderly father. They walk in casually, underestimating the old man. Big mistake. Within seconds, they realize the old man isn't fragile. He's deadly, and he's even more brutal than Hutch. Back at the factory, Hutch starts preparing. He shuts the place down, locks every door, and begins crafting traps. Improvised weapons, motion-triggered explosives, a labyrinth of death built from scrap metal and sheer genius. Then, a phone call. It's Henry, Hutch's brother. The same mysterious voice from the radio all along. Henry warns him to stand down. But Hutch's mind is set. He's going to end this, all of it, tonight. When night falls, Hutch storms the Obstschak headquarters. He burns everything: money, art, gold, the entire empire Julian built. As priceless paintings go up in flames, Hutch moves like a ghost through the chaos. Swift, precise, unstoppable. Meanwhile, Julian is at his nightclub, drunk on power and arrogance. The crowd dances, the lights flicker, and in the middle of it all, Hutch appears. He walks in casually, sits down, and starts eating a steak, as if he owns the place. In one hand, he holds a bomb. In the other, a choice. He tells Julian, "Walk away now, or suffer worse than death." Julian laughs. He refuses, exactly as Hutch planned. Hutch leads Julian and his men straight into the factory, his trap. A brutal shootout erupts, bullets fly, sparks burn. Hutch takes a hit but keeps moving, relentless. And just when it seems he's cornered, a single shot echoes from above. Henry, a sniper, watching his brother's back. And then, another surprise. Their father joins the fight. For the first time in years, the three of them, Hutch, Henry, and their father, stand side by side again. A family of killers. The Mansell trio. Unstoppable. Together they turn the factory into hell on earth. Julian's men drop one by one, torn apart by Hutch's traps. Julian himself fights back fiercely, even managing to wound Henry. But when they run out of bullets, Hutch makes a final move. He grabs the bomb, slams it onto Julian's shield, and whispers, "See you in hell." The explosion ends everything. As sirens approach, Henry and their father quietly leave, fading into the night before the police arrive. Hutch, battered but alive, picks up the phone. He calls Rebecca. No answer. He leaves a voicemail instead. A quiet apology. A thank you for the life she gave him. And one last request. A chance to start over. We cut back, full circle, to the opening interrogation. The two cops are staring at him, confused. One asks, "Who the hell are you?" Before he can answer, the phone rings. A command comes from the other end. "Let him go." The cops freeze. They look at each other, then back at him, realizing they've been sitting across from a ghost. A man who doesn't officially exist. Weeks later, Hutch and Rebecca are touring a new house. They walk through the empty rooms, a quiet, peaceful moment. Then the real estate agent's phone rings. Someone's asking for Hutch. The couple share a look, half fear, half acceptance. And before signing the papers, Hutch asks the most important question of all. Does it have a basement? A van speeds down a desert highway. Inside, Henry and their father. The back of the van is packed with weapons. Henry smirks. "Guess retirement can wait." The old man loads a rifle. "Family business," he says. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the story of an ordinary father who turned out to be one of the most dangerous men alive. A man whose entire rampage began over a missing cat bracelet that wasn't even stolen, just lost under the couch. This was Nobody, 2021. If our AI footage already impressed you with Hutch Mansell's brutal precision, imagine seeing the real choreography. Every punch, every gunfight, every moment of quiet fury. Watch Nobody, 2021, and see why sometimes the most dangerous man in the room is the one you never notice. And if you enjoyed this cinematic storytelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more movie recaps that hit just as hard. See you in the next story.